Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing a video counting down, viewer requested, after the first season of Fear the Walking Dead. Who are my top 5 favorite characters so far? So this is a bit of a difficult list to go ahead and make because we are very early on in the series for Fear the Walking Dead. I mean, it feels like the series just started, and it feels like we covered almost more ground in the finale than we had covered in the first, 5 episodes or so, at least in terms of zombie apocalypse kind of outbreak stuff. So in terms of our characters, who we have so far, tough list to make, but I've got some honorable mentions here. For me, ones that were close but didn't quite make it. One would be Alicia. Close but not quite there for me. Just hasn't really done too much. I mean, she's been there, but she just hasn't been used that much. She's there, that's what you can say. Chris is another one, of course, feeling for him with what happens in the finale. I'll keep this spoiler free for the most part, but with him again, he's kind of like the same thing as Alicia, where they're surviving, they're kind of doing their thing, keeping busy, I guess, but they're not really contributing, they're not really doing much with regards to the survival of the group thus far anyway. Of course, another one that was close but didn't quite make it for me is Liza. Can't mention too much about that without getting into spoilers. Great character so far. Definitely a giver, nurturer type of character with what she did, at the end of the first season there. And do like her character quite a bit. And I can understand for a lot of people if she isn't near the top of their list at this current time. So in terms of which characters I've enjoyed the most and am most excited for the prospect of what we're going to see from them in Season 2, at number 5 I have to put Strand. Very interesting character that kind of came out of nowhere because of course he wasn't in the first few episodes there, and kind of appeared in the second half with Nick. Kind of struck up a little bit of a camaraderie with Nick right off the bat, possibly seeing him as a value and deciding to go ahead and help Nick, even though he did talk out Doug from his cell because seemingly he saw no value in Doug and wanted to kind of get rid of him, was annoyed with his presence. So Strand is a really, really interesting character to see in a zombie apocalypse. We get the sense that he is independently wealthy. He obviously has a yacht. He has a really nice place on the water in LA. So he by himself is obviously extremely successful. We don't know what he did in his regular life to get there, to get to that kind of state at his age. But no matter what, you got to respect someone who is really willing to do anything to make it, even in the real world. And in a zombie apocalypse, I think he has the prospect for what could be a very, very dangerous type of character, maybe similar to the governor or something of the sort. I tend to go with him more towards the dark side than the light, and see him more as a governor than someone like Rick, for example. But I'm really excited for the prospect of what they're going to do with him in Season 2 and onward, and if he's going to become a villain, which it sounds like from what we know of him thus far, if the shoe fits, he'll probably be wearing it. I also really like the line from him at the end of the first season finale where he says the only way to survive in a mad world is to embrace the madness. So speaking of dark characters, which Fear the Walking Dead does have a couple of pretty good ones right off the bat, we have, of course, number 4, Dan Salazar. So Dan, older character, not somebody who you would look at as being that fearsome earlier on in the series, and by the end of the season we really get to see that he has a pretty dark past and that he is willing to do just about anything to protect those he cares about, including at this point his daughter Ophelia, the only pure thing, as he says, that he's had in his life. So he has, in terms of a villain, will he become? He already is a villain. He doesn't need to become a villain. He is one. He has already tortured. He has already sentenced, basically the entire military outpost there and staff, everybody who was there, pretty much to death with his zombie army, so to speak, that he unleashes upon them. Which was, you got to admit, that was pretty badass. So, walking it all casually, and next thing you know, they look over to the left and they see an ocean of zombies, like a wave coming towards them. Amazing stuff. So, just as a fan to watch, after Torture, I wasn't too much a fan of him. I kind of hated him for a bit. I'm like, oh, that's not right. But then, desperate times do call for desperate measures. And, it's interesting to have characters like that. I certainly don't agree with the things he does morally. However, it sure as hell is interesting to see a character like that. Doing what he has to do in order to protect his own. Something respectable about that, even though he's kind of done some pretty heinous things right off the bat. It didn't take him long. He's gone insane pretty quickly. So number 4 for me is going to be Dan. Awesome character. At number 3, we're going to go with Nick. So Nick is a really, really fun character. I mean, he's flawed. He is a recovering addict. He was struggling in the regular world, and now he finds himself in a zombie apocalypse. How is he going to cope with everything that's going on? And it seems thus far that he's been pretty optimistic. He at the end of the episode, in the finale, says that he feels like this is kind of like how his life is normally, and that now everybody is kind of catching up. The madness, so to speak, that Strand talks about has been with him his entire life, even before the onset of the zombie apocalypse. So really excited to see what they do with Nick in the future. So flawed that he's obviously going to be a very good plot device to use to just stir up all kinds of trouble and all kinds of chaos, because he has his addictive problems, and that right there is going to cause a whole bunch of havoc for Madison and the others trying to look out for him and protect him from his biggest enemy, himself. Number 2, and the runner-up is going to be Madison. In the beginning, she was probably my favorite. I want to say she's the character that I think is going to become kind of our main lead character. However, in the finale, it makes it seem more like it's going to be Travis. So I may be wrong with that and thinking that she's going to be our, kind of standout character, the Rick Grimes, so to speak, for Fear the Walking Dead. Would be different if you had a female being your kind of your center point focal character. But of course, Kim Dickens, amazing actress, has a really long career, and she does a great job as Madison, kind of playing the head of her family, so to speak. Travis there too, of course, but looking out for Nick and all his craziness, giving him a smack here and there, keeping him going, keeping him trying to help him get his shit straight, give him a little whack here and there, and just kind of being that sort of one of the main lead characters there in the show, in the zombie apocalypse. At this point, just still kind of recuperating from everything that's going on and trying to understand what the next step will be. Have a lot of hope that they use her well in the future, and be interested to see whether or not she or Travis, if one of the two of them is to be killed off, which one it's going to be in the future, and who will kind of lead us out as our future Fear the Walking Dead Rick, so to speak. Finally, at number 1, the most interesting character I think right now is we're seeing what they're kind of doing with him. I kind of see it, ahead of time what they're doing with him. They're showing him as kind of this very not weak, but yet a character that has a lot of resistance, very strong ethics, very strong morals, a lot of resistance when it comes to evolving and adapting to what he's going to need to become in the zombie apocalypse world. Sort of Walter White first season, Breaking Bad, if so to speak, maybe first season, let's say, maybe Rick, kind of, when Dale was there, and kind of his take on things with that influence. Travis right now is seen as a character who he's not willing to necessarily kill, seemingly, but he's starting to see very quickly, as in the finale, that by being a good man, so to speak, he's putting those that he loves and he cares about in danger. So he's going to have to change. He's going to have to embrace the other darker side, so to speak, and he's going to have to pick up a gun at some point in time and shoot. So he's my number 1 right now, probably the biggest prospect for our very front lead character. That is, should he survive straight through and Madison not kind of take over and then put us through some kind of switcheroo, maybe similar to a season 2 Shane death type situation with him instead. So we'll see. Either way, really great set of characters we have thus far for Fear. Really love the world that they have created and shown us, at least at the end of the season, and how the show has shifted from a drama into what we're used to, which is a zombie apocalypse series. So really excited for season 2. I've done my predictions for season 2. If you guys missed it, links in the description. I'll put it there for you. In the channel you have that video, and of course review for the finales there. Can't wait for season 2 of Fear the Walking Dead, but you know, I mean, it's not necessarily a bad thing because the Walking Dead season 6 starts this upcoming weekend. Absolutely so stoked. So I'll see you guys for that as well too. Let me know who your top 5 favorite characters are thus far for Fear. You know, everybody's, I think, will be different at this point, which characters they relate to, which characters they find most interesting, and which characters they can't wait to see in season 2. If you guys like the video, please thumb it up below. Please do. If you wouldn't mind sharing, it also helps the video out too. And thank you guys again for everything you've done, sharing the video. A lot of the videos the last little while helps the growth of the channel, and you know, channel get more subscribers and that. And speaking of which, if you're new and you haven't subscribed yet and you like Fear the Walking Dead and The Walking Dead, I guarantee you like the channel, go ahead and subscribe to the bottom left. That's it for this video, guys. We'll see you again this weekend, of course, for Walking Dead Season 6 premiere. As always, it's Trev, and I'm saying peace.